Hello and welcome into MFL with Laird. I am Andrew Laird, joined today by the man that everybody knows as Trust the Process, who I unfortunately undercounted in the description of this video. Jonathan, I said you were up to nearly 70 clubs, and we were just looking. You seem to have broken the leaderboard because the leaderboard only shows 63 clubs. And yet,
Yeah. So I think we were doing the math, and I have 68 clubs now, 3 licenses, and then 2 club packs. So I'll be at 73 as of now to start the season. I loved Jimbo's comment. I don't know if you can throw that up there.
But I was just about to do it. Yeah, what comes first, GTA 6
I was laughing at
or
that coming in.
100 clubs? I mean, so you were on, let me actually look back. I'm trying to think of when you were on last time. I wonder if I can get an exact date here. It says a month ago. The date was April 16th, which is almost 2 months.
Yeah.
But at that point, the description literally was, what's it like managing nearly 50 clubs? And we are now, after today, at 73. Does it get any harder, actually?
It's a matter of getting a rhythm, honestly. And so I think I get more credit than I should be due in some senses, to be honest, in the sense that I mentioned this in your last stream. I don't really scout opponents. I kind of just rotate my guys. The rotations take some time to make. But this year I started having some auto renewal contracts or pre-contract agreements where I just sign guys from my last team into this season without having to go through and sign them all again. Like I know you and Nep talked about, especially Nep talked about the complexities of doing that. Would definitely recommend either auto renewal or pre-contract agreements going into the next season.
So one thing you said, I think it was just before we started. No, yeah. You were like 73 is kind of a weird number. Maybe we'll get to 75 before the stream ends. So I don't want to like rule out that the number will go up as the stream happens, but we'll see what it is. Thank you to everybody for coming in. Alex, Sam, and Graf on the podium. Congratulations to you three. SR Monkey in the house. Much respect for all of these teams for sure. Toby, what's up? Pico player. We saw Jimbo, Sora Burrow, Kobe never lost against one of his teams. How about that?
I'm not surprised, especially if you're down in Spark and Ice. Or my 2 silver clubs this year who did not play well either. I had some good. I'm starting to drop enough where my teams will start to perform well in the lower divisions. So we're figuring it out. It's a process.
What's the like? How much divisional change did you experience in this past season in terms of like promotions and relegations?
Not nearly as much as the prior season. I would say I think I had maybe like 5 teams demote from Ice down to Spark, and maybe 1 or 2 from Stone down to Ice. But I also had a Stone go up to Iron, and I both my silver clubs went down. But I think it really is because there's times where my 16-man rotations, I have guys that are supposed to be resting at different times, both get red cards, or 3 of them get red cards, and I have to play a bad game. So it is what it is. Sacrifices to get training. But
so I actually was going to. So we'll get into a lot, but one thing that just popped in my mind as you were going through that was a comment that Nep made yesterday, which it's going to sound a lot worse when I say it out loud, but he certainly didn't mean it to be like offensive. But we were looking at the kind of the leaderboard and how much MFL, all of kind of like the bigger agencies made. And he was like, I kind of expected Trust the Process to make more. And I was saying how you have like you have a silver club, a couple bronze, and like it seems like a lot of them are like Stone, Ice, and Spark, which like don't reward a lot of MFL anyway. Yeah. And it reminded me of a comment you made on one of the videos, like a previous stream. And I was like, I have to bring this up the next time. But the comment was basically about how the point of the game is to win diamond. And I was like, but everything, and there was a lot that goes into that, yeah. But it was like, what we do is we want progression so our teams get better, and then our teams get better, more MFL, and we just like keep growing. And eventually, if you win diamond, you've kind of like, you've won the game. And you were like, no way, no chance that's right. And so I wanted to hash this out here.
Yeah. I would say, so for those two things, one, I mean, if the goal is to win diamond, I mean, you and Nep kind of talked about it to a part yesterday. I think Nep in particular, where he was like, I don't know, being up there just makes it seem like it's even more impossible than I thought it was to do in the first place. I forget the exact wording that he used, but a lot of guys up there have a lot of Legos, and it's going to kind of maintain that way. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but to say that the goal is to win Diamond, I think is just it makes MFL not worth playing for the vast majority of people. So I don't think the vast majority of us are ever going to get there. I had said whenever I dropped out of my training grounds team in Diamond that I would be back, and I don't know if I ever will be. But I will say, Ron John, or Fortress Agency, and I, we're working together right now to kind of build a club together of our top guys. We're starting in silver, and we're going to see where things go. Pretty excited to see where that goes. And actually, he got a rare pack yesterday, and he sold it to me at cost, basically knowing that if it's a top guy, it's going in that club anyway. And so I'm excited to see where that journey takes us, if we can get to eventually plat and diamond, but time will tell.
That sounds scary for the rest of us, but I'm glad I'm nowhere near silver, so I don't have to worry about that. If you don't mind, like, how did that come about?
Yeah, he reached out in a message saying, "Hey, I'm looking to get a couple of guys, different agencies involved in this." I think he reached out to a couple others. I don't know if they just weren't interested or never got back to him. But I like the idea of the two of us kind of working together. I mean, as much as the DAO kind of seems fun, I never really bought into that personally. Nothing against them. I just wanted to have more involvement, more of a say as far as how my players and stuff are being used. And so for it just to be Ron John / Fortress Agency and I, it's been fun to kind of talk about how we want to plan things going forward. And basically my Lego rev share going forward from all of my other Legos are going to go towards trying to build this club with him. Mm-hmm. Be a fun side project for us.
So we learned just before this that we can't necessarily trust the leaderboard page because it's undercutting you by 10 clubs. But if we look at the players, the two of you have a combined, if I do the math correctly here, 2,907, maybe 29, whatever it was, close to 3,000 players between. I mean, you guys obviously have the most. You are the only two that have more than 1,000 players in your agency, and now now obviously you're not like combining everything, but surely you guys have a lot to choose from,
whatnot. But yeah, I think probably, I don't know, 80% of my agency might be common, so it's not like they're competing diamond anytime soon or ever. But yeah, I currently, it says I have 1,445 on my own HQ. I don't know what it gives me in the leaderboard, but
1,390.
Some packs open today, so we'll add to that a little bit.
Yeah, so you did say that you got some packs from the drop yesterday. So for somebody that has 1,400 plus players, you still participate in pack drops.
Yeah. So my philosophy, I think, going forward, at least until I do want to break even eventually. I've put money into this thing because I loved it. But there's at some point when I start taking some stuff out, which seems counterintuitive to buying packs. But my thought is I'm going to sell some of the reward packs out to those that kind of want to grow their agency through commons or whatnot. I think I've sold, I don't know, 300 to 400 common players already this transfer window as far as common player packs, which is why I may have broke it a little bit. But I mentioned the team and they said, we don't really care that's happening. So that's good. But anyway, yeah, so basically my thought is sell those packs and then buy pack drop packs. And that way I have Lego upside. So I'm never going to use MFL to buy Lego packs. It's just not, I don't think it's cost effective from a MFL standpoint, but I love the Lego upside of buying these packs on pack drop days and seeing what I can get out of them.
I love that whole philosophy. Mostly because it does seem like the reward packs, not that you know what you're getting, but you basically know you have no upside with it.
There's a capped upside. Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I think I've opened 12 limited players for myself and probably 20 commons, something like that. But looking to sell most of them.
Yeah. I decided I was definitely not participating in the drop yesterday, then had enough of a dapper balance to buy a limited pack, and I was like, all right, I'll just buy the pack, and then decided I was definitely going to sell it, and now I need a player, and so I'm just going to open it at some point during this stream. So it doesn't seem like the philosophy has really changed since the last time we spoke, when you were again like closing in on 50 clubs. But what's the cap here?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this to you or someone. If I see a club listed for 60, odds are I'm going to buy it. I just think that that's kind of my automatic sort of we're buying it now stance. And other times too during the season where I see a club, like I bought a couple bronze, I think it was bronze at the time. Yeah, I bought a bronze club that had good MFL returns for the season, and so I kind of stole some MFL in that sense. But yeah, if it's a good value, I'm still gonna purchase it, and that's also because I can't stop opening packs myself, and so I keep on getting more players and need to play them. I don't like putting them out if I can help it. So yeah.
So I think I asked you this before, but I'll ask it again. What clubs do you care the most about? Like, obviously you want all of them to do as well as they can do, but like, is there one where you're just like, this is what I really want to win?
Yeah, I would say there's clubs in each kind of tier that I have that I care more about because I want to see those clubs progress. And it's usually the ones that I kind of allocate the best players to in that division. Like right now, I have one silver club, going to be focused on that, maybe actually scout opponents this time around. But also then whenever I get down to like the Kayev teams, Bosco and I have a fun time. We're talking about the fact that we think we each have 5 of those locations and seeing where we can get those in the pyramids. I'm always looking at those. But also, most importantly, my Philly clubs. I was pretty disappointed I lost promotion match actually to Barkey to get into Iron. And yeah, so it's still sitting in stone. And so I'm looking to promote those 2 clubs this season. So I'm overpowering them a little bit, maybe, to kind of get that progression.
Are you not confident enough that they are actually overpowered? Is that the maybe?
That's the maybe. Basically, and again, I'd be curious to see what the community's thoughts on this are. I basically made my top rosters, and then it's like my top roster silver, and then it's like bronze, then iron, and then stone, then bronze. And so like I'm gonna have 2 bad bronze teams this year because when we look at the overall needed to compete in those levels, I'm better off just putting them in iron than having them just relegate anyway in bronze. It's kind of the same philosophy I had with putting 55s on a diamond club whenever that was possible. Whereas like I'm gonna get last place anyway, so might as well just get last place and make the other teams potentially perform better. But
how much time do you spend buying individual players these days?
These days, honestly, like the last month or 2 has been a pretty tough time for me for work in terms of real life work, where it's just kind of like pushing for end of year agent goals for what I do. And so I've been spending less time on those things, where in the past seasons, I've been more than happy to kind of find ways to spend more time on the marketplace scouting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It just seems like with all the pack, I guess I'm struggling to literally just think of managing 1,500 players.
Yeah, and that is one thing too. Is like if I'm to go and buy a player off the marketplace, it means that could replace X player, and then everyone else shifts down one, and that's a lot more effort than it used to be.
Right. Yeah.
So the only thing is if I can have them buy and replace that player, then sell that player replaced. Eventually, we might get to that point. That's the more likely scenario, especially as players start to retire. The reason why I'm selling my packs now and not using them is the fact that I only have, I think, 4 or 5 guys with the retirement warning, and so like this is my window to kind of sell packs to get some of my investment back, and then from there just use my MFL to actually get packs for myself to replace players.
Right.
But you're kind of in a unique position now as MFL develops their retirement sort of cycle for some of us people that have been around for a while that bought younger players from the get-go to have some extra time.
And is the 16-man roster kind of still what you're trying to do for the most part on these teams?
Yeah, I actually got excited. I found another 16-man roster rotation to use for wingers. At first, I was like, the only thing about either 4-3-3 was the fact that it was hard to kind of figure out a way to get that to be less than a 17-man rotation. Then I found out I could do a 4-3-1-2, I think, and then that rest both wingers, and so I don't need a winger cycler. And so, yeah, definitely 16-man is still kind of the way I'm going for it. Everyone usually gets 20 games or close to it. I don't do well in the silver leagues last year. Both those teams, I think, made it to semifinals in Cup, and so I was able to get more playing time. That's kind of how I value things in general. Is I usually value trying to have Cup on the same level as League, when I know that people will rest their main guys or whatnot.
And So even for the silver club, you keep that at 16 also.
That's a great question. I believe I did. I actually have it made right now. I can pull it up. I may have it made, except for I'm looking for another striker. So if you want to join the team, or not you, but the general people that have an 82 to 84 rated striker and a backup goalie. But after I get these two positions, yeah, I'll have 16 guys.
It was just
sorry, Jumbo. It's a 5 at the back formation. But
it was just funny talking to Nep yesterday about how he was saying like he screwed up a rotation and it was just like dead after that, and you were like, no, you just do it this way, and he was like, oh, okay, but
yeah, I was happy to help support his kind of pursuits for that season, but
yeah, maybe he won't mess it up next time.
Jumbo, I'll take 84 striker then. Yeah.
Do you want to open some packs?
Oh, I'd love to open some packs. Let's see how we can figure that. Share. Don't show me this warning again. There we go.
Yeah, you'll get the warning about 17 times if we do this.
Actually, probably share. All right. We working?
We are.
Perfect. So,
wow.
Where do we want to start? And also, again, if we want to save time, we don't need to open all of them today. But
I mean,
I got nothing to do. Been selling on the marketplace, but
so you're actually going to open the common?
I'm guessing it's going to be sold before we have a chance to open it.
Oh, okay.
If you want to start there just for kicks, we can do that. But that's currently on Floaty.
I like going bottom up. So, whatever you consider the bottom, let's do that.
All right.
Oh, so you did. So you have the 2 extra packs because you got the promo.
The
kickoff pack promo.
No, that was bought yesterday during the pack drop.
Oh, okay. Not the extra for. Okay.
No, those I opened as soon as I got the club pack.
Yeah.
Those 2 club packs that you're seeing, I actually bought off of Floaty.
Huh.
For $70, and I was like, I'll take that gamble, especially knowing that's coming on here. It'd be fun to open those live.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got here.
All right. Well, 2 comments.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said in my Discord yesterday that they like to do player pack openings on their phone because it doesn't show the color. Because you don't there's no hover because you just click it immediately.
Yeah. Well, look at that strong defense from my striker. That's
I saw an 11 defending the other day on a striker, and I think that's.
I think I got one from a limited player that was a striker that had 11.
Oh, speaking of 5 in the back, I got a nice little.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. There we
Very
go.
Solid 54.
Immediate tier breaker. 21.
21. We'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad for a kickoff.
Yeah, for sure. Toby says I close my eyes before I.
What'd you say?
Toby said I close my eyes before I hover over.
I have done that before too. I'm not gonna lie, especially for the rare pack where I'm just like, I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had a good run of pack luck for a little bit there, and then I haven't gotten a Lego in a long time, but it's not to be expected.
Right. Although I think somebody got one yesterday. I saw. I think they MFL retweeted it. All right. Give us a good note. 48 left mid. I wouldn't even know how to say that first name.
Hughes? I have no idea. Yeah. Someone in Europe, I'm sure, can help us. One thing I appreciate that Net mentioned on one of his videos the other day, I didn't know that pace wasn't factored into left and right mid.
It's ridiculous.
Overall. I was like, huh, that's good to know.
This guy's got Calva's hair.
Barbosa. Okay, so two pretty good kickoff packs.
Yeah, not bad at all.
About those, especially I think for the price. Oh, and it's dual eligible. Not that
21 years old.
That, but
I'm sure you'll have a place for them somewhere.
Yeah, I will say the bottom end, especially as I've bought more clubs recently, there's been room for more guys. That's the other thing too, is juggling as players come out of the dev center. I think I had 30 some this season. I don't know if it's this next upcoming season or the following that I'll have like 100 come out, and I'm gonna have no idea what to do.
Oh my god,
It'll be fun, but Yeah, I try to time it with when potentially players would start to retire.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Tutor.
Could be on the Mohawk team that someone has.
There we go. 18.
That's a good one.
You could basically sell that for $20, guaranteed, at least.
It's one of those things. Right now, it's like I used to love the young players, but now I have a hard time holding on to them because I could sell them for 20. It just feels like the better move. Ooh, that one hurts a little bit.
Maybe he's 17. Oof, 24.
24. It's a little above average. It's not.
Might help with your winger rotation somewhere.
Maybe. I think center mids might be where a weaker spot for me anyway. In general, I know for a while I struggled with center backs, then I bought a bunch of them because they were cheap, and now I wish I didn't buy so many. They have value now. Everyone hates center backs. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because we have too many in the system or what.
It does feel like they're all over the place, and yet sometimes I'm like, wait, I thought I had another one.
I feel like they're the new goalie. I know you didn't like pulling your goalie, but I feel like center backs have almost been worse than goalies. Ooh, there's an upgrade.
Ooh, there we go. That'll be fun. Speak of the devil.
37. Wait for it.
I actually, it's not terrible. I actually need a backup goalie from somewhere, and I'm like, nobody wants to loan out a guy to not play on somebody else's team. So I was like, oh,
that's the biggest problem is backup goalies that I've been having. It's like I don't want to. Yeah, once we have older, close to retired guys more in the system, I think it's gonna be an easier thing to find. But 68 still can't complain. Yeah, uncommon in a limited pack. 20. Sweet. 84 defense.
Love it. 5.6 CDM. Oof.
Yeah, that's one thing I have never actually looked at as far as height goes. Outside of whenever I had less teams and I was trying to plan for crosses coming in the middle, I cared more about that, but I really haven't looked at it much since then. Do we feel like it actually makes a difference?
There was someone in my Discord who packed a guy who was 6'7" yesterday. And I was just like, that's the biggest I've ever seen on MFL. I feel like everyone I own is 5'7" or 5'9".
Feels like he's preparing for the basketball iteration at this game.
Yeah. These are my favorite packs just because they have 3 cards.
The 3 cards is definitely a nice touch. No upgrades in here, but I still feel like they're good value for what these are selling at for these days. I do understand too, as far as like return on selling a pack, these pack drop packs are some of the best options for that. But I also want to keep the fun in the game, and I find the not knowing if a Lego's in here to be the most fun part.
I love this concept of like selling the reward packs to basically fund these.
Yeah.
That is an incredible facial hair.
There's a lot going on there.
And the earring. There is a lot going on here. There's a
Roar Holland. Good old CB. Not very quick.
No. Yeah, opening packs is just too fun. But yeah, the reward packs I just felt was like, oh, okay, here's the one player I got.
Yeah. It's a lot more definitive as far as what you're getting. Another CDM.
21, not bad.
No.
They're all 5'11", all 3 of them.
All right. Ron, John, are you watching? Is the question.
Let's go.
We talked about whether this is a player that can fit in our team. He's going right in. But if not, then he's going to try to develop to be someone that can fit in our team eventually. Right now, he has more players on the Silver Club that he's going to manage than the ones I'm contributing. So I was trying to be like, hey, I can buy in more by buying your pack and then just using the player in our team.
So this is the 85 striker we need?
This is hopefully the 85 striker we need.
Yeah. All right.
But it's blue, so it's not going to be 85 striker.
Or 84 striker. That would be good enough, right?
It would be good enough. I will say, I don't know about you. Anytime I see an American, though, I get really excited. I'm like, I don't care.
There is a little bit of like, oh.
Yeah.
Jimbo's calling dibs on the 82 striker. What do we got here? Wingbacks are so hard.
72. Yeah, I want to say, maybe like 4 of my teams that use wingbacks.
Wow.
26. That hurts a little bit. But I'll need to replace them eventually. But him being 26 probably won't be the replacement.
Yeah.
Ooh, blue hair to match the
blue hair. Let's go.
CDM.
Big day for CDMs.
then it's not terrible, not ideal. I will say I just recently bought a CDM off the marketplace. 20. Okay, that gets me excited.
That might pay for all the packs.
Yeah, it could. It could be sold to buy an older striker. Who knows? But odds are I'm not going to sell him because he's. I know myself too well. CDM is probably the weakest spot I have on my teams. So, are we ready for the club packs?
Yeah. Before you do, can you see how many notifications you have in your inbox there, or is it just so big?
Yeah, and there's a way to clear them all out at once, but this is usually the problem.
What does the number say?
5,400.
It does say 5,000. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I'm like one of those guys who like can't have a dot on there, so like that I couldn't do.
Well, I also built a lot of my teams yesterday, and so anytime that happens, it's like immediately 30. Is it 32 or 16? I guess it's just 16. I couldn't remember. They used to do like sent and accepted, I think, and that was a lot. But
Joey said, "No way, you're selling the blue hair."
Yeah, if we looked at my clubs, which may take a second to cycle through, but you would see CDM as one of my worst positions.
All right, let's find your new clubs.
Yeah, it was like $70 for a chance to get another U.S. city. I don't know if they ever made. I made 2 suggestions, and I didn't see either of them actually get made yet. I don't know if they're coming or if they're waiting for the more regional scene. I suggested Harrisburg, capital Pennsylvania, closest big city to where I'm at, but also Camp Hill, where I live, and I figured that was no chance to actually get accepted, but it was still fun to dream.
All right, let's see.
I don't know if the volume's coming through or not.
No, it doesn't. It unfortunately does not, but we all know what it is. We can hear it.
I can bob my head to help you guys.
Yeah. Just so we know we're on the right feet.
It's the closest thing to dancing you'll ever see me do. But
so somebody bought this and then sold it for less on Floaty?
They sold it for $70. I think their thought is they would just be able to then get the kickoff pack or whatever came with it. Iceland.
Okay. Do you have an Icelandic club yet?
I do have one.
Okay. There's no way we can pronounce whatever pops up here. Oh, maybe.
No.
Akureyri? It sounds wrong.
I will say one thing with the Rainier Division thing, whenever it's like, all right, we know it's coming for the last one. It was great whenever they first came out with packs. I don't know if you know they first came out with club packs.
This is like this experience is everything that I've seen.
Okay. So there used to be, whenever MFL was first launching, they had basically the club packs were either you're going to get a diamond or plat or a gold or silver, bronze or iron, and I think they added stone later, something like that. Because ice has been an addition since this is expanded as well. And so I forget how they were bracketed, but you used to not know which location you're getting as far as if it was a gold or silver.
Oh, wow.
Until you opened the pack. And so that last piece of Rainier Division was actually climactic.
Wow.
You didn't know exactly where you were being placed. So
I can't fathom like the experience of like opening a gold club pack, like without knowing.
I had gotten the gold. I forget how many club packs I bought to start, but I've opened a good amount to date.
Yeah, well, obviously. So you just want a US. So you actually, it's funny because you were like, I like, hopefully it's like a US club, but based off of if a club is $60.
Costa Rica. Yeah, I also look to have clubs that are from the same location, and so I love having the fact that I have 5 Kayevs, or that's a new one, I'm pretty sure.
Puerto
I have 2
Limon.
Phillies, but I think I have like 2 or 3 Dublins. I'm Irish, so I like that. Other locations where I have multiple for.
Man, we got the right hemisphere.
Yeah, just a little south. But I love them all the same.
I asked this because
how do you stop sharing?
Because I think I took it off. Yeah. I talked to you before I bought my ice club, which like I knew I was going to do it, and I was like, I should tell somebody about this. And you were like the perfect person, because I was like, I didn't need anybody to convince me out of it, and I knew you
These
were not
words of
going to do that.
encouragement.
Yeah. Do you look at serial numbers at all?
After you messaged me, I started to, and I was like, "What do
Damn
I
it.
have?" I think I have a 3. I think I have something within the first 100, and I was like, "Okay, that's cool." That's all I really went from there. Our conversation did lead me to reach out to the person that has the one club, and I was like, "What would
You
you actually
did?
sell that for?" I did, just because I was curious, and he was like, "I actually don't know,"
Oh.
and so I think it is an interesting point, is I really don't know. I was like, I'm not the person that's going to value it enough to pay for whatever you're looking for if you ever made a decision. But I'm always just curious to see how people value things, and I think a top 10 club for what you paid for is a fun thing to have, and also how you branded it accordingly was a nice touch.
Thanks. Yeah, I I don't think it's just kind of a weird thing, because the serial number doesn't mean anything right now, and could mean nothing forever. And maybe it's the whole trading card thing, and so rare that the numbers kind of matter. They don't, I guess, really matter as much they matter more now in trading cards. But like the only thing that I always go back to is like, I don't need everybody to think it is valuable. I just need like one person later on to be like, yeah, I would pay for that, and maybe that's worth it. But knowing me, like, I'm not going to actually sell it. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I think I was just looking, and my lowest club is an 82, and that's my Iron Incheon. I don't even know how you say it. South Korea club that I've had for some time now. But
I loaned a player to an Incheon club, not yours, but somebody's.
Yeah,
so that's.
I think I sold that guy that club.
Oh,
I think I saw one of your streams. It was like the Incheon 9 or something like that, or whatever it was. But yeah.
While we're on packs, I'm going to open this pack that I was definitely not buying yesterday, and then definitely selling on Floaty.
Love it.
I don't even remember what I need out of this.
Sometimes it doesn't even matter. You just hope for the best.
Right.
Best case
Right.
scenario.
So
like you said before, you'll take a Lego in there. You're expecting.
I would.
So.
I would. So I don't. How am I supposed to? Everybody else will see the color, but I didn't. Now that I have to re-click it anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. The only thing about being able to scroll over is the fact that you can save the best for last. And so that way you know at least what you're opening. Yeah. Oh man, Tobias, you called it. Let's hope the other card is an upgrade.
It's actually exactly what I need.
Okay.
Which is annoying, because like having to need a 55 rated center back's not overly fun. But let's see. He looks like he could be quite old, as if like they age.
Oh, let's go. Now here's the question: do you keep him, or do you sell them and get 3 center backs out of them?
Wow, 6'5" at 17 years old. He's playing the wrong game.
55 card I've ever seen. Yeah.
Maybe I'll finally sell a card. Anyway, probably not. I can't believe I considered not buying a pack and then selling that on Floaty. What was I thinking? So this kid actually looks like he's 14 years old. Still growing. Oh, there we go. Now back to reality here.
Hey, that's a good balance right there. I would take that.
26-year-old, 44 overall. So I'm laughing at this because I'll show you exactly why I'm laughing at this. Hold on. So my Sarpafasen club is like my lowest rated players. I'm still putting it all together. But if you notice, I already have, so I have 2 strikers here. And the reason I have 2 strikers is because I have not finished assigning all of my players, but I have 5 other strikers already. Or is that the one I just opened? Did I open? Is this the guy I just opened? Okay, so I had 4 other strikers that were free agents that were going to go into that club. And so getting another 40-ish rated strikers is about the last thing I needed.
Well, who are your youngest bad strikers? Like I see a 20-year-old there. What about the ones that you currently
have? Let's see. I'll just do primary. None of these fake strikers.
Yeah.
So I have a 20-year-old who's 46 rated.
Yeah. See,
none of them are really that young.
If you can get someone to play him a bunch in Spark, that's great. But I would even consider throwing him in the Dev Center. Guys that are that low in overall and that young, put them in for 4 years, see what happens. That's usually my game plan for guys that are that young. That 20 years old usually doesn't sell as high as those 18 and 19 and 17-year-olds. But
yeah, so
you
last
got a
year,
couple guys in there. Yeah,
obviously 36 is quite low. But I these are the only two guys I've ever put in the Dev Center, and this guy literally has not gained a single rating ever. Like,
it could be a late bloomer, or it could be just the +1 overall guy. But
right, he could be 37 by the end of the. But I think this guy has grown a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I almost, not that I don't trust the Dev Center. I forget who. Maybe it was a Wendirk. I don't know, but they were talking about essentially, is it better to Dev Center or just have like a team of terrible players in Spark because you can't get relegated anyway.
So you want to buy another club? Is that what you said?
I can't fill the ones that I have right now since I bought that ice club. Yeah, I'm at 4 of my own clubs right now, and the only one I've considered is following Josh Excel's and just trying to get like the lowest rev share possible, but 100% loans. But I don't think I'm good enough at the game yet to really do that. Mm-hmm. Meaning good enough that I wouldn't just tank my other teams because I'm spending time on that one.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Was this you wanting to buy another club or two?
I mean, eventually, probably. Everyone at towards the end of the transfer window, everyone panics and they end up selling their clubs for 60 because they don't want to field them. And so, yeah, I could definitely see myself hitting 75 eventually.
The cheapest one right now is $61, which is really testing the.
Yeah, if I started breaking that now, then all of a sudden I'm paying at 62. And
no, of course, yeah, no,
you got a hand real quick. Yeah,
yeah,
because they're definitely not there right now. Yeah, I bought one at 60 this morning. I bought a Quinto because I want to get back into that Quito market. Yesterday as well. Otherwise, I bought one club for over 60 as far as Spark goes. Now it's because I'd been to EPO, and so I wanted to have a second club there. I already had one.
Not that I've never considered another like New York club, although there was one. It was either, as weird as it sounds because they're not next to each other, it was either in bronze or gold. I couldn't remember, and I was like, I can't run this club. And so I didn't want to buy it, but I was like, having another New York club, I kind of like the idea.
I did see the gold New York one posted at some point.
So it was gold. Okay.
I think at least there was one as well. But I did get a Denver for 75 for Spark, and I felt like that was a pretty good buy for a U.S. location. But otherwise, I'm pretty stuck at my 60.
Do you look every day?
That's a generous way of putting it. I probably look, I don't know, a dozen times a day, just at like pull up MFL, look at clubs, lowest price. It doesn't take very long.
It's not like each one takes 10 minutes. It's literally like seconds to actually look. I'm surprised you don't just leave a tab open just so you can refresh it. One click.
Oh boy, I already have way too many tabs open. So I actually pulled out a separate window for this conversation so no one would see the one window I have that has like I don't know. I can't even count them.
It's just you can't even count. What was I just about to say? Are you like how many of your clubs are ready for the season? I mean, we still have almost a week. Well, what do we have? 6 days? Next Wednesday?
I don't know. In the fact that there were some players that I had to pull to move up, and so I have to check just to go through all them once, do a once over. But I would say like going into the season, of the 59 or whatever I had to end last year, probably 45 of them to 50 kept the same roster at least. And so those rotations are already, those tactics are already preset. The contract's already renewed. And so I'm just good to go to move into next season with them. I redid all my iron and up level clubs, including the 2 Philly teams in stone, just to kind of reevaluate where growth has been, and make that adjustment.
So do you? I didn't do the math in terms of like number of clubs times 16, but do you have more than enough players? Like you obviously had enough to like loan that essentially most of a team to NEP also.
Yeah.
Like how many, or I guess like, do you know like what percentage of your agency players stay in your clubs?
Yeah, last season, I think I counted like 5 players for my clubs. Otherwise, I had all the players I needed for, and that was always a goal of mine, was to get to the point where I could stop loaning people in, because, again, trying to save time on some level. I'd done that on lower level clubs for some time, but yeah, I think I loaned in another 5 players or so this year. But some of that's people that have auto accept contracts on that I'm like, oh, they're old, they can be a backup if I want to get my guys that are young more playing time, or if it's a position of need. So I loaned in a striker from someone. I think he's an 83 for my silver team. My striker is my weakest part of my agency. So loaning in one guy at the top makes every team better.
Right.
Downward.
Yeah. But so how many do you end up loaning out?
Loaning out. Sorry, that was your question.
Well, it was both basically.
Yeah, I think I can actually pull it up right now and see what that is right now. Because right now loaning out to Ron John's going to be probably more than I have before as far as that team we're doing together. So I'm not really counting that because it's a team we're doing at the same time. Believe it or not, it takes a long time to load my player page.
I was going to say, how do you feel being the one who they stress test for?
Yeah, it's been fun. There's been a couple times where I've had to reach out and be like, hey, my player page won't load. And they're like, oh, fixed. I was like, hey, I'm doing it again. Nope, fixed. But that was only twice. It's been better since then. As of now, I only have 2 players loaned out to not Ron John. I've had a consistent good relationship with Big Wilbert for my one guy who's been playing on his gold, now platinum team. And Frage, I also sent over my Lego left wing back. So another 5 back formations, making it to. Oh, you were just looking at my screen. I didn't know you were looking.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I was like trying to get back to the camera. So, yeah, these 2. And also I do have a contract offer currently for another one of my Legos that I'll look into accept if someone doesn't submit a higher rev share. But 2 in Diamond, I would love. So I think that's also going to. I want to say it's another Big Will team. Yeah. And so that's been going well. He's 31, and so I'm also okay with getting no contract guaranteed if it means I can get 3% from a club. So we'll see. I was just happy to get him not to have the retirement logo. He's actually progressed well randomly towards the end of his career. Wow. I had got him whenever he was 27 out of a pack drop, and I was like, son of a gun, 27. But he's been well worthwhile.
And now, now he's Lego. It's funny. So I'll ask you. So I have a player in my agency who I can't put in any of my teams because he's too good. He was in stone to start, and then bronze, and now he was in bronze, and then the team got promoted, went to silver, and team got promoted again. Was it gold? Wow. Maybe it was stone. I should just look. I don't know why I'm going through all of that. Let's see here. Anyway, so he's been like, I'll never play this guy. Like 81 rated. It's not going to work for me. So I loan him out to Allcox here. So yeah, so they won their Iron League, went up to bronze, won the Bronze League, and is now in silver. Now, 81 rated Cam, not like great for silver, I guess. But I got an offer from a loan offer for a team in gold. And I was like, is it better to just have like a good team and have him at a good team in silver versus I have no idea how this team will do in gold.
Yeah.
But I don't know which, like, obviously the MFL is higher in those places, but it's like last place. I think last place in gold is better than everywhere but first in silver.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Whenever I was analyzing the pack prices, I think I had 82 overalls being silver quality, and then 80, and then like 79s being bronze. And so you're kind of right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That's I would just ultimately come down to how much game time is he guaranteeing you. I don't. I really personally don't love seeing 9 and 13. I'm sure maybe 9 was mid-season, but 13, I wouldn't loan to a guy that's only giving me 13 games. But he did great in Cup and everything, so I can't. I'm not going to
Yeah,
blame you for doing a great MFL return, but um, I'm just way too much of a stickler for 19 to 20 games at least. I say 19 because there's guys that I've loaned back to that have hit 19 and not 20. Because I won't hold that against them. They tried. If someone like sends me a 20 game contract and they only get them 15 games, I'm happy for the extra rev share, but I probably won't give you that player again.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't even know if he hasn't had like a ton of progression. In fact, literally, well, 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Was that due to lack of games played? I don't know.
Yeah.
The benefit is he's probably playing on a better team, and so he's getting at least the full training development. But I think you can do a situation where both are true, where you can have both good development, but also good playing time. But that's again the beauty of this game is the fact that you can make decisions you want to make and accomplish the goals you want to do. And I think as far as driving MFL goes, if he's giving you good contracts and you're okay with sacrificing some progression, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Can your process start with something small like 3 teams, or do you have to go big?
I too once had 3 teams.
I was going to say, yeah.
I think before the season started, I think I had 8. But yeah, I think you definitely start. You definitely start there. Like I said, there is a definitely ever-changing environment as far as how you can generate money from selling packs and such. Like right now, at the point where I have people reaching out asking to buy 20, or even some people have bought like 100 common player packs from me, and that'll fund, I don't know, 3 more teams, something like that. That was just quick math, closer to 4, I guess. But yeah, hard to say. I would still say definitely you can definitely do that. It really just depends on what your budget is, what your goals are. The main benefit of having so many teams is the fact that all your teams can kind of be optimally trading environment. You're kind of spreading out the risk pool as far as the fact that you're going to have some players that do spike, some players that won't. But you're going to have some players that spike when you have so many players and so many clubs, and you get to develop them the way you want to. So I don't know if you can do a full process with 3 teams, but I think you can work your way there, starting at 3.
Well, I mean, you have to get to 3 before you hit 100. So
yeah.
So, given that you like to have a lot of control over that, Nep and I kind of touched on this idea of like somebody coming in and having a huge agency and no clubs, and just like if I almost feel like that's the ultimate. Maybe it's not the ultimate risk-averse way or risk diversification of, hey, let me get 1,000 players and loan them out to everyone and see what the MFL comes to. But like, you obviously love clubs, so I don't think you're going to do that. But like, what are your thoughts on that kind of strategy?
I would definitely need to trust who I'm saying them to. So I wouldn't want, I know you guys talked about the concern of every now and then there being the one guy that has a bad team that never cycle around. They get no MFL for it, and your player just rotted there for a year. But in general, that doesn't happen for most circumstances, especially the higher up in the pyramid you go.
Yeah.
And so I think it can be a safe way to bring in MFL, and it does spread out your risk pool as far as some guys will finish top of the division, good in Cup, and some guys will do terrible as far as where you loan them out to. Overall, my decision usually comes down to the fact that one guy represents 6.25% of my club. I would need to get that return back from someone if I was to loan them out to somewhere else. If I have extra in a position, maybe I'll do 5%. But I'd want to get that 20-game contract, full development. Because that's my biggest concern loaning out to someone else, is them not getting the playing time that I would give them, or the best environment that I would give them.
Right.
But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. It's just not how I would choose to play.
I got a question here from SR Monkey. How do you feel about the constant relegations by balancing the teams for progression?
I'm believing you're referring to the fact that my teams are going into worse leagues and they're not developing as well there. In general, I think that they're being relegated to where they should be in some cases. Like I had too many ice clubs and they weren't designed to play there. I did not set my team in for proper silver level play, and so they got relegated. I tried to fight to keep them up there, but I don't think that there's enough concern between one division to another for development sometimes. Especially when you balance out the fact that, yes, maybe they're playing lower competition, but they're performing better. And so there's the match rating boost to balance out that XP. And so I believe they're always going to kind of stay in that range. I'm more concerned about the team itself being fully optimized as far as development goes. And if I have guys spike in one team, I'll move them to a next team up and kind of swap guys to make sure that everyone's kind of between that 70 to 73 range, something like that. Ideally. Every now and then you have things that are a little bit out of whack, but.
So when you have this many players, what's like the average number of +1s that you see on a daily basis?
There's definitely those complaints that come in towards the end of the year. It's like, man, progression's not happening the same way it used to. And I definitely felt that too. And so like there's times day one of the season, especially double gamers. I mean, I'll see +1s. I'd have to scroll before I stop seeing +1s. And that's great. But towards the end of the year, like there's times where I'll get 5 or 6 +1s throughout the whole day. And that is a little sad.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what that is for the training part of it. I understand for the playing part of it. The earlier games kind of allocate for a higher percentage of progression because of how progression works.
Yeah.
But later on the season, if everything's 1/32 or whatever the math is, I don't know why training isn't going as well later in the year. But maybe that's just a perception.
Yeah, I can't figure out how much of anything is perception versus reality on this game.
It probably is. It's probably the fact that during the games they're getting XP early on, so it's making those, even the training sessions in the morning, feel like they're doing more. But whenever you're end of season, it's still 1/32, but you're not getting the bumps throughout the rest of the day to kind of make those 1/32 be more worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think the game times themselves probably account for more than 1/32 of the progression. Sorry, my analytical brain's about to go way too far into this, but we can pause there. I think it's starting to make sense to me, though.
Well, I'm actually not going to let you off the hook on that one because I'm trying to set up a show with Josh Excels on this because I think he looks at the game very analytically as well. But like, how do you kind of settle yourself in being able to analyze a game, meaning like the whole platform, when basically the two biggest things, potential and longevity, are completely unknown?
Again, it comes down to, I think, the risk pool part of it. You know, you're going to have some guys that are going to have good potential. You're going to have some guys that aren't. You're going to have some guys that are going to have good longevity, other guys that aren't. And so overall, like whenever I'm doing my rev share need calculations and such for certain players, I plug in the average age, I plug in the average age of a pack opening or the average longevity that comes with the player, and just kind of hope everything falls in the middle. I actually think looking at it analytically from an overall average perspective, it's not that difficult to kind of understand the fact that you're going to have some bad luck and some good luck, but it's all going to balance out to be what the averages say they'll be.
Yeah, it's like the biggest thing that I keep wondering, like, should I put any more effort into like analyzing specific numbers, or just do the best I can and play with, go full vibes and just be like, yeah, if it works out, it works out. And I don't know. I literally keep going back and forth. I open Excel and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do this.
It's almost like flipping a coin 5 times and you really need an X amount of heads versus tails. Yeah, you can be stressed if you need a certain result, but if you're flipping 1,000 coins, you're going to get close to 500 and 500 either way. Mm-hmm. And so really it's going to average out in the long run.
Jim was saying 129th for training.
Okay.
But who knows? The best 13, if someone wanted to replicate the model, how should they start?
Sorry, there's a bus coming by. That's actually a trash can. Might just wait a second.
I was gonna say maybe.
Can you still hear me, or is this a bad situation? Okay, then turn left. Okay. I would say, try try to beat me to the $60 clubs, or if you want to beat me, start doing $61 clubs, and then I'll never get to buy anymore. And just start in Spark. Start with the best return players. I personally think in this game right now, how players are valued, the best value for players are either commons in Spark, or it's actually the point where I think like rares in silver, gold, actually have good value too. I haven't really analyzed platinum and diamond just because then all of a sudden your risk becomes higher when you're talking about less purchases up there. But your overall averages of down below in commons, I like what Nep is doing as far as having a bunch of Spark clubs, doing different projects for them. But you could do that in the fact of buy a Spark club, get 16 players, and just start using that, just start turning the MFL to create more players and more clubs. But there's also an upfront investment. I mean, I can't say I've done this all from investing a small amount. Like I definitely have a good amount into this game, and at the end of the day, it is a game, and so you got to be comfortable with the fact that if that money goes away, it goes away. But I believe all of us here that watch this video right now don't feel like that's happening anytime soon. So,
yeah, I feel like and now I'll preface this by saying that I joined in a time that the market was kind of already a bit wonky, and then basically got very weird after that. But I feel like the gap in terms of, I don't even know if it's price so much as just value between like a common to a limited, like it feels like, and limited is probably maybe standard, or excuse me, uncommon, that the gap is bigger than it should be, is smaller than it should be, because like uncommons, it feels like uncommons are actually overpriced.
Yeah.
And everything else actually might be cheap.
When I'm looking at the marketplace to buy something, I'm not looking in the uncommon range, or sometimes even the limited range. I'm looking at either very cheap commons or rares at this point. Because I do think uncommons are kind of inflated for price for sure. But here's one thing to think about too, as far as buying clubs now, is the fact that as long as the game's around, there's always going to be that base level of value. It's the safest way to put money into the game, if we're calling this safe. Again, not financial advice. The fact that $60 club now, I was buying $60 stone clubs when they were the bottom of the division, and now the game's boomed and stone clubs are like 85. And so you can potentially see, hey, if this game continues to grow, which we all believe it probably, hopefully will, you buy $60 Spark clubs, maybe those are going to be worth $80 down the road whenever we have these regional clubs that they've talked about having in place. All the while, you decide next season, hey, I don't want to do this thing anymore. You sell your club for $60, and you basically just lost fees. So again, I think it's just the safest way to play the game, and that's why when I continue to choose to invest in this game, it's all basically in clubs.
How often do you sell clubs?
Usually when I'm selling clubs, it's to buy another club, or it's because I bought another club. And so, like, for example, I sold a club the other day, but that was because I sold an iron club, but I was getting 2 stone clubs in return. Plus, I gave him something else with the iron club to balance it out. I think it was an uncommon player, uncommon player pack. So no, I wouldn't say I'd sell clubs. Someone asked if I had any clubs to sell, and I was like, "You're talking to the wrong person."
Well, I only asked because, like, I actually didn't think you did at all, but you mentioned that you had sold that Incheon club, and I was like, oh, I guess he does sell clubs sometimes.
Okay, that is a correction. Whenever the boom was happening, I had clubs that I didn't mind moving from, especially when someone sent me a story saying, hey, I'm from Incheon, or I used to work there or live there, or I'm trying to do this theme where I'm doing all these Greek clubs someone else did, where I'm doing these all based off like Greek gods or something, and I was like, yeah, I'll support that. And I sent the club over knowing I would just buy a replacement club come the next season. So that was also a time where I thought club prices were inflated, and so I was happy to just sell and then buy again whenever they decreased going into the next season.
So the locations seem to matter to you in specific spots, and then outside of those very specific spots, they're just all whatever.
Yeah, it's whether or not I've been there. If it's one that I already have 2 or 3 locations for, then I want a second or third one just because it's fun to have A, B, C, D, E teams for a certain location. But in general, yeah, if I see a $60 club, I don't care what location it is, I'm buying it.
And do you do that during the season? Like, do you end up running a club of other people's players just for the MFL?
I have for higher level clubs. During the season, we don't really see $60 clubs very often, unless it's still during the late, um, the late entry window. I forget
Yeah.
that. I've bought, I feel like 2 or 3 or 4 clubs a year during that time frame, a year season. But during the middle of like the season where you can kind of add clubs to the system, I don't usually see them for 60 because usually they're either all bought up or they're being used in the leagues.
Right. So I'll finish questioning you with this last one. Do you find this part of the season more exciting than the actual season? Like, do you find the off season better because you can find your cheaper clubs? We're buying more packs now, or is it the actual day-to-day in-season stuff that you enjoy more?
I get about, it's weird. I think I get about a half hour of my day back during the off season. Whenever it comes to like at night, I'm not cycling through all my teams. But also I'm so much more distracted during the day when it comes to building the teams or messaging people. Man, the amount of DMs I get, sometimes it's self-imposed, but it's a different kind of busy at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that are messaging me now about different things is like, if I don't get to them back now, that's fine. But if I don't rotate my clubs in time during the season, all of a sudden things are off for the next few games while everything kind of cycles back to balance.
Right. I said that was the last one, but I'm going to do one more.
I'm loving this. You can ask many questions.
Okay, good. Would you, when it becomes available, I say when, if it becomes available, would you hire a director of Metaverse Football?
It's funny. I'm actually thinking about that. I don't think so. I really don't know what the limits for this game are. I mean, if it becomes something crazy, I have no idea. I still have no idea. I wouldn't say so. I would say I'd probably sooner. Jimbo, great question. Yeah, I don't know. I love it too much as far as like through in the hands-on and the amount of trust that we needed to go into someone managing or directing my metaverse teams. Yeah, probably not.
So
I'd probably just work less.
So better question. Would you be someone else's director of Metaverse Football?
I've actually been asked to manage someone's Spark teams for a season. I'll keep that person anonymous. Because I was trying to explain my process to them and they were looking to do the same thing. And they're like, do you just want to do this for me? I'd pay you. And I was like, I just don't have the time.
You're like, I have 70 clubs. What do you think?
I was like, I still have a regular career I need to make money on. And as much as I would enjoy it, there just wouldn't be enough in it for me. He'd never said what number he would be paying me for. So who knows? Maybe it was something that blew me out of the water. But I really don't want to get to that point because then all of a sudden this becomes a job. Mm-hmm. And I love it for what it is. I love the fun that I have with cycling players and seeing how the progression comes in every day whenever we're on mid-season. But yeah, no, as of now, I'm not for hire.
So, okay. You open the window, you open the door. So I'm going to just keep asking questions.
Yeah.
This kind of combination with Ron John, does this, like, do you think this is going to be something that you consider more regularly in terms of working with other people on specific teams?
Are you asking for yourself? No.
I'm not. I don't have good enough players to do this, but like, I'm curious if we see more of it. Obviously, there, we know that there are a couple of DAOs that group their way into these things, and it just seems like the way that most people play MFL is very individual, which is weird because with the loaning system, you obviously have an incentive for other people to succeed, maybe not necessarily in your league. But I'm wondering if we do see more kind of like groups take on the game as opposed to just individual people trying their best to network as many people as they can.
I think it goes back to what Nep said before on your last stream, as far as like to be able to compete at the top. It's gonna be really hard to do that without some partners, unless you really want to buy in yourself. I personally don't see myself partnering with anybody else going forward. Maybe Ron, John, and I will reach out to someone else at some point if we want to kind of need more help to compete the next level. But I personally just I have a cap as far as how many great players I have, because most of them are in that lower tier, or I just need them for my own clubs. But right now I'm at the point where I have those. And if you want, I can share my screen again just so we can see what the team's looking like.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, like, as we can see, like, he has most of the players on here, and frankly, he has some of the better players on here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think we're planning on having this be something that we do together for some time, and who knows if someone else will join in. I don't think we're actively looking for somebody. But again, Ron John approached me about this, and I thought it'd be a fun idea, because I have consistently looked for, like, hey, what do I do with my top players? How do I make sure they get loaned out? And I think this is just going to be a fun way for us to have some higher stake going forward, and have something for our players to progress to. I have.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is that like an average silver team? Like, it seems much better than what I was picturing in silver.
So an average silver team, I think, would be from like the 80, maybe 86 down as far as like a top tier team. This is definitely putting us over the edge, I believe, as far as being really competitive in the league. And I will say, I did make sure the silver club that I bought for myself to use was not in this same league.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems a little. It seems a little. What's the word? Conflict of interest on that level. But yeah, so we're gonna see one of my spreadsheets real quick if my screen's still sharing.
Oh yeah, sure.
But basically, this is kind of how I was looking at these packs and kind of where they should be going into. And when I was seeing based off of one of the, I forget, maker of the tool, my apologies, but I was looking to see kind of where the top 25% teams are in certain divisions. And this is kind of where I want to play, like the 82 players in silver and the rev share I would be looking for to kind of make in the long run.
Wow.
But anyway, someone screenshot that if they want to. But basically, yeah. So I think a top tier silver club is going to be around that 84, 85, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to be top tier. And then, yeah, grow this together. Any Legos that I have that are not a part of this club are going to be making MFL to then pour into this club for buying packs or selling packs to then buy players. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm looking forward to it.
A 29-year-old with a retirement bit label already is depressing. Oh.
That's brutal. This is the team that Ron John mentioned that he's the plus 39 for, and so we're excited to see him. I did not get a retirement label, and this is also a team that has one of my best CB developments in the long run. Two of them actually.
Jeez.
So
it's funny.
Some spikers.
Yeah, I forget, and it's very similar to like real life football, but it's like I forget that there are guys that high that are still young. I'm like, oh, I have guys, and I'm like, oh yeah, when he's 27, I'm sure he'll get up there. And then I see some of these Legos, and I'm like, oh, he's 89 rated and 19 years old. And I'm like, oh, those guys really do exist.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that's where we're talking about how difficult it can be to kind of break into that upper tier without kind of working with other agents, unless you want to just buy Legos yourself.
Right.
Because, yeah, to Nep's point, I didn't make a bunch of MFL last season. Like, I could buy, I think, a couple Lego packs. But what's that going to do whenever they're 85s and people are competing with 90 pluses in Diamond? So the hope is, I think, that we both have players that have these super strong development paths in the long run. And eventually we can put all the spike guys together. But
do you think, like, what happens if you get to the Diamond?
We get crushed. No, we'll see. I think best case scenario is that we would cycle in and out of Plat and Diamond. Best case scenario. I don't think we're ever going to have a club to compete at the top. Maybe he disagrees. We'll see. The good news is this game, I think, has a long life cycle to it. But I could find myself too. Maybe he's in a similar situation. I have no idea. Where down the road, whenever I'm able to kind of sell packs and recruit my investment, maybe I'll view this more as like, hey, I'm now break even. Let's just kind of pour into moving stuff up the chain. I can't believe I'm saying this. Maybe have less clubs and just really focus on having things up top. But we'll see. I think I'm always going to have. I could see myself really trying to have like a Plat Diamond club up there, and then nothing, and then just a bunch of Sparks or a bunch of whatever the lowest level is at that point.
Yeah.
Just to then farm those players, and then sell them as they develop out of it, replace them. I don't think I'll ever fully get rid of the farm lifestyle, but
I think that was definitely kind of like my next question was like, what would have to happen for you to say like, I need to reduce the number of clubs I have, if as long as it's like an MFL reason and not like I have a new job and I can only spend, a tenth of the time. But like, what you obviously seem to be moving in one direction here. And
yeah.
at some point, obviously, like there will be a peak at some point, but I wonder if like the peak, that's what you just play if, or at some point you're just like, I need to actually reduce it. And yeah, maybe that once you, although like you kind of just said, like maybe the play is bouncing between platinum, diamond, and then everything at the bottom.
Yeah. When the season's up and running, I only probably unless it's a double game day. I do agree with Calva. I would like to see that changed if it was ever possible, but that's definitely a selfish perspective. Where if we could just have one game a day, that'd be helpful for me. Again, selfish perspective. I would say I take about 30 minutes a day to make my rotations. Yeah, I'm checking to see development more often. Sorry, that was distracting.
The antitrust lawsuit against TTV and Fortress. There we go.
What's wrong with that?
So I'm going to come back to that in a second. You can finish your point, but yeah.
I've already lost my train of thought. What was the question
So
again?
that one. So yeah. Sam threw me off on that one too. So let's get into that. So not that I was expecting you guys to do this, but theoretically, there's nothing stopping you guys from just combining your agencies, or at least combining your teams and just saying, let's just get our best players and just trickle everything down. Like you guys have a ton of players that you could probably do that. Was there any thought to do that?
Like fully merge everything? I don't know.
I wouldn't even say fully merge, but theoretically between, I don't even know how many clubs Ron actually has. It's not nearly as many, 40-ish. But like you guys have more than 100 clubs together, almost 3,000 players. Like you could theoretically just say each of our best players go here and then just like trickle it all the way down.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. That never really crossed the mind. It's really only ever been designed to have it be the top players.
Yeah. Thank God.
To make one club. Well, really also like I don't really see the point of doing that. I don't really know what those birds are talking today. I really don't know what the point is of doing that. I think everyone, like, how would that change things? Like if we did do that, what would be the negative?
I think the negative to everybody else is that each of the teams is stronger, and obviously like the bottom is probably not as competitive. Maybe.
I guess I was just more so saying like if I have these players that are like my best 5, 6, 7 players, and we put them on a team together. Below that, I have a full team worth of next players, and he's a full team worth of next players. That really makes no sense because even if we mix match players, those teams are still going to have the same caliber.
They're about the same, yeah, that's fair.
And so it's not like we're making multiple super teams. It's just we already have the next tier downs on our own rosters.
Right.
So
well, speaking from their community, thank God.
I still don't know how it would hurt the community, but
yeah, I don't either. I think it's almost like you guys have so many players each that it probably doesn't change anything.
Yeah, if we both put all of our 83s together now, all of our 82s together, like sure, maybe that changes things very incrementally, but we're not at the top of the food chain either, so it's really not a concern.
Yeah. Do you pay much attention to the top of the food chain?
I do whenever I have a player involved. And so I can't remember if last season, I don't think I did have a player last season, but I had a couple guys in Platt. And so I track those teams. But no, the only updates I get really are from when I watch Wendirk every Monday. I do really enjoy the Monday nights. I used to watch Monday Night Football, and now that football season's over, it's been like, all right, it's Wendirk night. Whenever wife and baby go to bed, it's time to just watch the Wendirk. I appreciate that they've added the video too. I like seeing
Agreed.
the facial
Agreed.
expressions and such too.
So do you pay much attention to like the other bigger agencies and what they're doing?
I don't think so. I have found it fun to see some other agencies that are bigger, that are kind of at the top, start doing some farms as well.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's validating a little bit to see people are like, yeah, there is value to this. But no, I wouldn't say I really do keep track much of other large agencies. I'm honored to have like 30 some followers for my agency. I don't follow anyone else. I really didn't see the benefit too much of that tab, to be honest. But that thing's just me having too much to worry about myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to say, I can't imagine you would have much time to like check on to see what the other guys are doing.
Yeah, it's really just whoever I loan players out to. Whenever I
Right.
loan out 5 guys, and to Nep's point, is like I can check all these teams whenever I loan guys out. If I loan 5 guys out, I usually do follow those teams to some extent to see how they're doing, if they're making their cup run, because it's fun to see if there's an extra MFL coming your way for those players.
Mm-hmm. Do you watch matches much?
If I have time throughout the day, if I have ran a minute, sure. But usually it's like whenever my like bronze clubs, or like last year I had 1 bronze and 2 silver.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching those matches whenever I had the time. But typically with matches for us in the US being during the typical work day, I'm usually trying to focus on work during that time. And so it's I wake up in the morning, check progression, either make my rotations in the morning or the prior night, and then check around 4-ish whenever my bronze clubs are about to start, or silver clubs about to start, and watch those games. But otherwise, no, not really.
Not really. What was the next thing I was?
I think probably hurts a lot of people's hearts, but I just don't have the time.
So this was a bit of a topic with Nep yesterday, and he didn't like blow it off because, yeah, whatever. Where do you fall on tactics?
I was going into the season telling myself, okay, I have all these auto renewals. Now I'll go in and make tactics this year. Now that I have the time, everything's been signed last year, did no tactics. Now this year, maybe I can go in and make some tactics now that I have more time. And like I said earlier, just with work right now, I don't really have the time to do that as I was hoping. And so maybe tactics will come into play coming in next season. The only thing I did adjust for most teams was where my line was for my CBs. I would try to have my CBs be similar speed across the 3, and then have the line be according to that. So I think that is one of the biggest ways to get exposed in this game, is if you have slow CBs. And so at least I try to do that. Otherwise, I really don't do much with tactics at the moment.
So you're not running friendlies nonstop?
I can't tell you the last time I ran a friendly. I actually have friendlies turned off because I was like, if I don't have time to do it, I'm not going to let other people do it. Actually, my silver club, that reminds me, I think I'm going to do that right now because I got it new this season. But yeah, I think it was
because like
shout out to Orange Fly. I think he was scouting me out by playing me like 5 or 6 times from another team, for the team in preparation for another game. And I was like, I respect you doing that, but I also don't want you to do that. And so I just turned off friendlies going forward.
I was just thinking about like what does it say? Does it say it doesn't say schedule, but there's like latest matches, and it's just like I can't fathom what yours would look like if you had friendlies on.
I do. So I will say I don't worry about friendlies from like my stone down to spark clubs.
Oh, okay.
I just turned it off for like my iron and up. I don't know. I think at that point I'm like, all right, maybe you people that are in these lower divisions with me, you deserve the extra little MFL if you're going to work at it. But the top levels, I care about my MFL too much to let them get away with it.
I think that's reasonable, and that's kind of one of the things that has been said by a couple of people, that like once you get to a certain level, they are scouting you, and if you want to perform better in that league, like you're probably going to have to do something similar, or as you do, just stop them from doing it.
I appreciate we having this conversation. So I'm turning it off right now before it happens.
Sorry to everybody competing.
So if you wanted your chance to play against my Novi side team, you missed out. But
man. There's
plenty of other teams you can scrimmage, and I do consistently. I feel like every time I log in, I'm seeing one of my teams are getting scrimmaged, which I don't mind. I just, if they want to scrimmage a team that has some tactical prowess to it, I'm not the person to be scrimmaging.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to feel good about yourself, fire away.
It is kind of like one of my favorite little quirks of the game when I like look at my latest matches and see somebody has played my team 6 times in a row. And it's like the first one I win 5-0, and then it's 4-1, 3-2, and I'm like, you're getting closer. Here you go. And then they finally beat me, and I'm like, we're not even in the same league. I'm not sure how this helped you at all, but made them feel better, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh wait, 6. I think 6 people have scrimmaged me today already. I won't even try to count yesterday.
Yeah, I'm looking. My best team got beaten 5-0 earlier today. I don't even want to look at the team that I played. Hopefully, it's not a Spark team because my team is in ice.
Yeah, I did look earlier and I saw I beat someone 8-0, and I'm like, you chose me.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. I think that's all the questions I had. Although I know as soon as we finish, I'll come up with some others. Was there anything you wanted to discuss today that we haven't yet?
I don't think so. Yeah, I really didn't know what questions you were going to ask, and so I was just ready to talk about it. I just love anytime I can talk about it. I've talked to you, I think, and other people about maybe thinking about starting up my own YouTube one day. Maybe if it's going into next season, I'll consider it. And I don't even care if no one watches. It's just an opportunity to talk to a camera and express my thoughts.
People will watch.
Yeah, I showed Maddie, my wife, the video clip, not the video clip, but like the YouTube posting that we were about to be on in a couple of days. She was like, "It's so weird to see you up there."
Here you are, man. I mean, you're the biggest, or one of the biggest, however you want to look at it, agencies. Like, I think people not only just are amazed at like how much you've been able to put together, but are just generally curious, like what you think of it. And obviously, you're very bullish on MFL. You have a lot of fun playing it, and it's like comfortable validation that people are like, I think this is fun. This guy must think it's really fun, and it's just like it's nice to have it for sure.
Yeah, and as I said before, it's all about just making this fun, however that's fun for you. I mean, some people, if they put in more than a couple $100, they're going to be stressed about this game and trying to perform well, and then it's not fun anymore. So just stick to what is fun for you. For me, it's one of those things where I feel comfortable and secure in the fact that even if I sold every club at $60 right now, 73 times 60, I'm able to get basically $4,000 off of those if everything would sell at 60.
Yep.
And so like I feel pretty good about where my investment is at this point, that if I need to back out for whatever reason, I can do it.
We can do it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it was great talking to you again. We should just do it again soon, unless you start your own YouTube channel, and then you'll have to come on so that you can say everybody needs to come over and subscribe and all that stuff. But really appreciate you coming on again.
Yeah, literally anytime. I will say, with those messaging me in Discord, typically the rest of this month I might be slow to respond. My apologies, but otherwise feel free to always message me if you have questions. Also, sorry, just a little caveat. There is a trust the process in Discord that's not me. It's not in our Discord. But if you just make sure you click on my name whenever you see me in Discord chat, because my actual Discord is I don't even know what it is. It's like J Anthony 77. Yeah. So someone was trying to get a hold of me for a while and had someone else reach out to me. Hey, this person trying to get a hold of you. I'm like, no, they aren't. And they're like, message the wrong trust the process. So just a warning, but I'm happy to answer questions. It just might be slow.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Particularly subscribe to the YouTube channel as I continue to grow it. More people that subscribe, more people see it, more people find out about MFL, and they get to have all the fun we're having. So yeah, should do that. Similar to Jonathan, make sure you get outside. It's early enough in the day, probably for whoever's watching. So get out there.
We got our little kid pool right here.
Oh yeah,
get the. It was his first pool experience yesterday, so it was a good time.
Let's go. See, you got a pool nearby. Get in it. Jonathan, good to talk to you. Good luck to everyone else.